fucking Sydney.
No, it's good. You can start.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you, Sydney. And welcome to the Rock and Beers Podcast, episode 37. My name is HSR, and joining me is that fucker Sydney, and then...
Kristen.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and...
Yeah, relax yourself. So, Kristen, why don't you tell us what album we're reviewing today, because we're so excited.
Synthesis.
By
Evanescence.
Are they like your favorite band or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, low-key, yeah.
All right, so now you're going to have to take that a little higher than the lower of the keys and describe your connection to Evanescence, to these fine people. So she's here to, like, totally validate this review.
Okay, I've over-listened to every single song over and over on every single album that was unreleased or whatever. But yeah, I started listening to it when I was 14, and it literally just gave me the full teenage experience that it was supposed to, of, oh my god, this music understands me. So yeah, I have a very strong connection to all of it.
All right, why do you like Evanescence?
Why do I like Evanescence?
I know you said strong teenage connection.
Okay, why do I like Evanescence?
Still a teenager.
Oh my god. I really like Evanescence. I love the music. I love the lyrics, and I love the combination of both.
Okay.
And what else? Also her vocal style. I'm very inspired by it, and I strive to be able to belt like her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can respect that. Sydney, how about you? Do you have your teenage girl experiences with Evanescence?
I did, absolutely.
Nice.
I mean, look, when Daredevil came out, it was hot off the heels of Spider-Man, and it was like, oh my god, superhero movies are now becoming a thing. And I really liked the movie, and I really liked the song.
Which one was that one?
The song?
Yeah, what song was from that?
Bring Me to Life.
I just know it as
That
I
was
didn't
Bring Me
realize
to
it was
Life.
from the movie. Fuck.
And then, I went out and I bought Fallen, Going Under, and My Immortal, and all those songs, and I sang them all at karaoke, and I fucking ate up Evanescence, and then I think I graduated high school before The Open Door came out.
No, I don't. Maybe, yeah, I had.
I think so. Anyway.
I was like, it was 2006, so I was in CEGEP, which is our college.
Maybe I hadn't quite graduated high school yet. I don't know. I remember someone showing me Call Me When You're Sober and being like, this is super different, listen to this. And then I listened to it and I was like, it's not super different. Evanescence are not a band who has been different.
Well, to be
A
fair,
lot.
they have, okay, so like for me as well, Fallen, I remember when Bring Me to Life came out because it had the cool rappy guy part.
Yeah.
That appealed to me.
And then it was like, wait, he's
but you know
not
what it really
part
was?
of the band?
It was that it had that like nu metal sound, but it had that back and forth. And I feel like there's not a lot of music that has men and women singers together, and just hearing that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and there should be
again,
more music
not,
like that.
Not part of the band. Like Evanescence is very much.
Right.
If you're coming into this and
See,
Bring Me
I
to Life
actually-
is the only song you know,
But,
there's
like, for
no
real,
male vocalist in Evanescence.
I
It's
knew
only
that there were
Amy.
like no male vocalists, but I actually thought that dude was still part of the band until about like a week ago, and Sydney corrected me.
About a week
and
ago.
he kind of laughed at me and whatnot. It was all good.
Well, I mean, like,
Apparently he's from 12 Stones is what we're
Yeah.
Googling.
Yeah, they're called 12 Stones.
Yes, that's their and they're still active, so you can totally look them up and see what happened to the voice. That was also with Amy Lee on Bring Me to Life. That's things. But yeah, so I actually kind of dug that album because I was still a little younger, and like stuff like My Immortal is a tearjerker. That really like.
That song is.
And like, especially in the music
timeless.
video version, and we're gonna talk about that later on, apparently, which is baffling that in 2017 that's gonna happen. But yes, so
Aren't you happy about it?
a little bit. We'll talk about
little
like
bit.
my mixed
feel like-
emotions to it.
I feel like this is one of those albums that like the internet made happen.
Yeah, maybe.
Like,
Alright.
I don't know that she was actually going to release another Evanescence album
yeah,
until...
they were on a hiatus for the longest time.
Again, she's the only member of that band left for a long time now, and she's been releasing solo albums, right?
Well,
So it's like,
has she?
why release
Yeah.
another Evanescence
I didn't
album?
know
She
that.
released a children's album, okay? She wrote her own
Oh,
children's
that's cute.
Yeah,
that's
but
like
I-
PNL.
But I think
Doesn't
the
work.
fans of Evanescence, of which apparently there are legion, a lot of goth kids liked Evanescence. I liked Evanescence. I was a little metal kid.
Let me just like continue here for a second. So I liked Evanescence until I heard "Call Me When You're Sober," and I was like, okay. So lyrically, you're kind of like in the same frame of what you were. No problems with that. Like, I mean, I was younger, so I actually loved the sappy shit, and it's very sappy. but it was cool. But the musical choices was like a lot less cool nu metal sounds and blah, 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 and a lot more softer stuff that I had no interest in at the time. Like it was really just so out of my like. I was getting into metal and thrash and all sorts of other shit for real and like hip hop a lot.
I will
say
say
that song is kind of the opposite. And then the next one, the Lithium, came out I think, and it wasn't. Then it was done and I was over. And then I found out. This is their 4th studio album, and if you include the other one on Spotify, it's just B-sides and rarities. And I'm like, that is surprising to me that they have so few albums, like 3 albums up until this one of real music. And I was like, whoa.
Well, I think
I didn't even know they stopped. Like,
I think they've just had legal shit all throughout their career. They've kind of been struggling. Correct us if we're wrong.
I'm not totally sure of that, but I do know, for example, like what you were saying about there are other CDs, right, and our other albums with some of the same songs or different variations or songs that we've never heard before. And what happened was actually they had a lot of demo albums. And then from what I understood, some people got a hold of them and started selling them for ridiculous prices. And they found that out and they said, well, no, screw that. We're going to just put them out for free and just give everyone access because at the end of the day, it's like demos.
Which is really similar to what System of a Down did with Steal This album.
Okay.
Where a bunch of people got their hands on some old demos and rarities, and they were just kind of putting it online. And System of a Down was like, all right, well, if you're gonna have them anyway, here's better recorded versions of those songs. Take it.
That's funny.
And it's one of their best albums.
Also, people watching this, I'm not the right market for Evanescence. That's a lot of why she might be here. So just be a little understanding that to me this is so out of my scope. So as we do get into this album, it's all opinions. I'm addressing right off the jump. This is a little out of my field of interest in music, but it's her favorite band. We were trying to get her to come back, so it just totally worked out that, Evanescence dropped an album. I was like,
I'll still come back
aligned,
regardless.
Just to pique some interest.
What I did want to say was they still stand as like even now, and this record isn't like it's not a metal record. It's a heavy record.
Hold on, let's just introduce
but it's not a metal record.
This is a fucking pretty much remix album.
But I do want to say that even like through Fallen up until now, they still stand as a really good gateway band into heavy music.
Yeah.
The same kind of way that Korn do, the same kind of way that Linkin Park does. Like it's still accessible enough that it works on mainstream radio and it has pop hooks.
That first album, I'll agree. The later ones, I didn't listen to the Evanescence self-titled album at all. I've heard nothing off it, so I have no idea.
The Open Door really isn't all that different from Fallen.
Well, the singles were all soft-like.
They're
and
soft-ish, but there's still heavy instrumentation, and it's still new metal for all intents and purposes.
Each album has its own personality basically, and they're all somewhat different.
But they're all they're dark, they're gothic, they're melancholy, they're dramatic. They work really well as a gateway into dark heavy music. Not like you're not gonna go up to like a Necrophagist fan and be like, yo, I listen to Evanescence, I'm super hardcore, and he's gonna laugh and walk away.
The other hand of it is I started growing up. And those songs are targeted at the same age group forever. So, but I think we should get into Synthesis. So this, as I discovered after we agreed to all do it, has literally 2 original songs, a couple of original musical
instruments. Is one of them the Overture?
I would say that we're not quite there yet, but so then the rest of it's like basically remixes of their older tracks, I guess. With
remixes is a bit of a harsh term because they're all re-recorded.
Because that's the thing about a remix. It's usually when in a lot of cases it's when the wording will stay the same. Like if you look at take Macklemore's Other Side remix, it was to get around the legal instrumentation.
They clearly rearranged it.
What a remix is they'll take the original tracks and they'll remix the audio and then maybe they'll add some extra instrumentation here and there, but for this album, they went in and they re-recorded.
So they did their own cover album. So we call it a cover album of sorts of their own music.
It's almost like they went back actually to the original, and there's a whole thing that has to do with the title and all that. I have
all right, so it's great for it because let's talk about Synthesis.
But I have one thing that I just want to point out, and I totally agree with your thing about targeting a certain age group, but I also think that it's also just targeting a certain kind of point in people's lives because there are a lot of also adults.
That's true.
Especially the Evanescence fan base is really not strictly really teenagers. A lot of them are
especially
older.
Especially with the emotional maturity of 2017.
Exactly.
But let's just be real. I see where you're coming from. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So let's hear about your thoughts on the Synthesis title of this album.
Me or
Yeah, you.
Okay,
Because
me.
you just said I have shit
well,
to say.
Okay, yes, I looked it up actually because I had no idea. But so what she said, and I copied down a definition, is that she said synthesis is the combination, contrast, and synergy between organic and synthetic, and then also represents the past and the present.
Okay, now hold on. Describe what hip hop is.
No, but I think like the whole point of the title, if that's what she was like, saw the definition as and everything, is basically like.
No, because like that is the definition.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So like going back and taking that stuff and kind of making it new, past and present, there's a bridge between. So I mean, the title I think is very accurate.
Now, photosynthesis is the process of plants.
I swear that is the absolute
Do you
first
even, do you
scientific.
actually know?
Yes, photosynthesis is the process of green plants converting oxygen into energy, and
You
it is
heard
the
it here
first
first.
scientific big word I ever learned in grade 4, and I'll never forget it because I feel like everyone quoted that in high school as like if you had a science thing to say, it was the definition of photosynthesis.
That made you a smart person in high school, apparently. So
Yeah.
if you're a high school kid watching and you want cool points,
Google
with the nerd
photosynthesis.
chicks
Maybe
or guys, I don't. Do girls watch us?
it's 96% men.
Okay,
90
so
at this time.
if you want an in with the nerd chicks,
Well, no,
learn
but
photosynthesis.
what we have
God.
learned is on episodes with artists like Evanescence, Kesha, these types. That's the 4%.
Okay, so girls, if you want an in with the nerd guys, learn what
Oh my
photosynthesis
God.
is. I'm just trying to get all
I'm
audiences.
pretty
That's what
sure
I'm trying to do
if
here.
you want an in with the nerd guys, play Call of Duty. Just gonna be real. I digress. I love the cover and I hate the cover all at the same time, but I like the title. The title's really cool because it reflects a lot of what the project is. The cover is just like she's such a diva type.
Is it
The
like
cover is like a
Hold on.
cocoon, butterfly coming out of its cocoon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's grown.
It's
She
rebirth of the old music.
It's mad cheesy.
She's
I don't
resynthesized.
know.
It's I looked at it for a minute. It's got this like gray background and she's all color. Like I get what it is,
I like it.
but when
It
I
kind of
look
looks
at
like
it,
you know on
it's just-
Supernatural where like an angel falls and you see their wings all blacked out on the ground.
No, but I
Oh.
can picture it just based on your description.
It's that. So
Awesome.
that's what happens.
Oh, there could
Alright,
be
it
so
looks
many
like that.
angles to this cover.
I mean, look, I'm certain there's some deep artistry to it or whatever, but when I look at it, it's like, hi, it's the Amy Lee show. That's what I feel when I look at it.
But it is, and that's not a problem.
But with the name of an Evanescence or whatever, I mean, yeah, granted, Evanescence has always kind of been her show, but it felt more like a project with her in it. And now this is just like the cover doesn't show any like community or like it's a band. It's just
Well,
her.
the other ones didn't really.
Yeah, the other ones are pretty much just her face too. I think like Fallen is literally just her face.
Yeah, you're right. Like we could see like
Then the
little
open
thumbnail on
door,
the
yeah,
bottom.
the
I'm
open
not-
door is an open door with her, and then self-titled, there's nothing. It's just purple.
You guys might be right. That
We
doesn't
are
change
right.
my feelings
Oh
about it.
no, you're not wrong. It's your
That,
opinion.
that right. That's all I'm saying is, and the
No,
fact
he's
that
wrong.
it's not
It's your opinion, but it's a wrong
and,
opinion.
and maybe just like because of her age, she chose not to do the close up of her face or something.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, look, I don't know. I'm just saying I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. I'm just saying maybe that's a thing that happened. And like you look at this,
I mean,
and
she's a mother. She has children. You know. Like,
which is respectable. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm
Look,
glad it's not a close up of her children's faces because that would be inappropriate.
that's what DJ Khaled did.
DJ Khaled is.
that's another subject. Let's not get into
Another
that.
one.
That's
I reviewed that album. Don't listen to that album.
Listen to it if you want. It's
honest-
the best music.
It's we the best. Okay. Anyway, before the internet hates me, do you guys want to talk about the songs?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
So, Overture.
Overture. Holden likes when overtures do the thing that overtures do.
It was just so like it was almost cliche. It was just
Almost.
like okay, it was completely cliche, but it made me enjoy the start of this album. Like it was almost like as much as I said whatever, and please don't hate me for that face comment, internet. On that note, like I like the way it sets it up to be like this is gonna be an experience. It's not like your regular album. And so it put me into this thing where I just pictured myself more of in a concert environment off the jump. Like it's not like we're not getting a regular album. This is like clearly a passion project, and I think that by putting this as an overture at the beginning, it's to create that like I'm trying to give you a weird new experience, a new way to look at things, and it was well composed. There was nothing aesthetically unappealing about it. For me, it's a 3.5 because it's also not that interesting. It's just exactly what it's supposed to be. It's an overture called Overture that serves the perfect role as an overture, and it's not boring, so I'm not gonna like hate on it. Somebody else can talk now.
The end of it, like before you get to the last note, the build up is very much from Tourniquet.
Oh my God.
So it's like,
Tourniquet.
because for that, the ending of that song is like this whole like
From
rising
the
up.
album
That's a
Fallen.
segue, yes,
We
from
have-
Fallen.
we have to
from
state
Fallen,
that.
yes. So the end of that song is like, so it rises up and then it goes into what is it? Paper Flowers. Oh my God, I can't remember the title right now.
Imaginary.
Imaginary, exactly. So
So then
yeah, it was interesting that they put that in.
The imaginary song here. No, anyway.
So,
I didn't rate it yet.
Yeah.
did Holden? Oh, he did.
I
Did
did.
let me
No.
finish.
All right,
You
No,
can
please
let him
finish.
talk.
No, but anyways, I really liked it too, and I think your point was very accurate that it serves the purpose of the title, which is Overture. So I'd give it a 4. I mean, it's good.
It's just
It's
like
interesting.
I gotta just before Syd comes
Oh
in,
my
just because I
God.
want it to be like that.
Oh my
It's
God.
just I when I do give my ratings, as much as it's part of the album experience. Imagine you're on shuffle, and you got like Biggie playing, and then this shit pops up for its minute, and then flows into whatever comes next. And that's part of my experience with these songs. This one has no fluidity outside of the experience of this particular album. Go on, Syd.
Thank you. The thing about an overture, right? When you're when you're giving something an overture, it's implying that you're gonna have like a series or a sequence of pieces of music that are different, and that's the point of an overture. It's to combine kind of the themes and the melodies to give you a taste of the different things that are going to happen, right? And it's usually 2, 3, 4 minutes long, and it plays over the beginning of an opera or a theater piece or a musical or whatever,
Or a movie.
and this one, because, and it's not to its detriment, but this album is very samey, and the overture is
See,
a
I
minute
just
of one thing, and it does exactly what an overture is supposed to do.
I've heard a very different expression of the point of an overture, just described in various stuff. I've been watching a lot of just people video essays, as they call them, and it's a context setter. It's supposed to serve the purpose of like a prologue to your book.
It does, exactly.
And so the part where it has to have this diversity
But it's
of
not that-
musicalness, to me, like it.
I'm not saying that
is-
the overture has to have the diversity. I'm saying that it's usually used in productions that are going to have a lot of musical diversity. Like a musical has a lot of musical diversity. A theater
But-
piece has a lot of musical diversity.
See,
this is not.
A lot
this
of
is
hip hop albums will use their intro as an overture to bring you to a particular headspace to be there for the next track. And when I look at what this overture was trying to do for this project, and she does it a couple of times with the various interludes, it's all about taking your mood and carrying it along a certain wavelength, right? And so this overture's whole job is to go for that first minute to take you from over there to like over there is how I see it. Now I might be
silence and
wrong,
then-
and you can continue.
I'm
you can
not
go on
saying
still.
you're wrong. I'm saying I didn't see the point of this overture, especially because we're going to get into the next track.
Yeah, for sure.
But the next track would have served
So
the
what did-
same purpose. I give this a 3.8 because it's fine.
Well, it's an
It-
opening. I mean,
Yet you
it's an
graded it
intro.
higher
I
than
graded
me.
it higher than you because I'm nicer than you. But
I'm not that nice. I felt like it was what it was, but
oh look, never go back.
fuck you.
Oh, there's something wrong, but
Woof. So here we are with pianos. Now justify how this serves as an overture for the album, these pianos coming in.
Well,
Please.
okay, but that's it. I didn't feel like this album needed an overture. Like,
Because
Okay, just disregard the title and think of it as an intro because like a lot.
but
of
what I'm saying is this song that we just heard and we are now on would have served as an amazing. Like, I gave this song a 5 on 5. It's to me, it's perfect in every way. It's got this huge chorus. The changes are awesome.
Oh,
The
this is
mid
gonna be a
section with the
painful
strings
review.
and it's so powerful. And Amy Lee's voice is she just belts it, you feel the emotion, you feel the sadness, and it's got this like minute-long piano intro that to me is useless if there's already a minute-long intro before the intro to this. And this intro is better. Like it leads into the song. It's more fitting.
No, but it's also an individual song. You have to remember that. And
I know.
Also, the intro is the bridge. So technically, it's part of the song.
I feel like the song in general would have served as a perfect introduction to this album because the songs are all very similar. This song is similar to the rest of the songs. It sets the tone. It sets the mood. It brings you in. It's not it doesn't get heavy right away. It doesn't get loud right away. And it does get very kind of new wave heavy, like very very industrial heavy, very dubsteppy, which is something that you wouldn't have said about Evanescence 10 years ago, which is cool, that she's taking risks musically, and I like that she's setting that up with this track. And this is the one on the album. I plus this one. This one I'm going to go back to a lot, even though it's never go back. Too. But Holden plussed it, but he's still going to hate on it because I gave it a 5.
Well, I gave nothing on this album a 5. Spoilers. It's just
I gave another song a 5.
That's okay. So I'm going to have to disagree with Syd a little bit about the purpose of that overture, only because I think it's kind of something I've noticed a lot from the hip-hop side of things, is a lot more of these albums are meant to be played out more like symphonic experiences where you really are supposed to like bop off for an hour and just go through the project, right? And that overture really displayed a lot more of what the album sound is than this track's intro of the piano loop did at the beginning.
Okay, so if you feel like this intro doesn't sound like the rest of the album,
I don't actually.
Please,
I feel like
comment.
In terms of the song structuring, it totally feels like a lot of the song structuring of this album with the very calm intro, and then they at some point after 2 minutes to 4 minutes bring the beat in.
Yeah.
Which they do in most songs where there is a beat to be brought in.
And even ones where there shouldn't have been.
But like, then otherwise it feels great. Like, don't get me wrong, I was really impressed with her power of her voice. She really does sound good over this music. I mean, it's not an original track, and the lyrics kind of felt a little wishy-washy.
It is an original track.
No, this one isn't.
Never go back. No, but okay.
Again, when he says not original, we need to...
Okay, to clarify...
These are all written by Evanescence. They are
by original track as in new song.
Right.
So I'll say new song. So it's original in the sense that they wrote it and it's their intellectual property.
And it was on another album.
But it was on another album, so it was like whatever. And so for me, going at that too hard from like a songwriting front, it's more like lyrically and shit like that. Obviously, they didn't write new lyrics for this. They just, I trust me, I went and followed the lyrics on all the old albums.
Yeah,
and I was like, no. So, I don't know. It just kind of felt like, all right, you're doing a bit of a greatest hits thing, and you're flipping it up. So I don't want to go too much into what the songs were about for the non-new ones for me. It was more about how they made it sound. And I noticed that this album, it is the right balance of like, when it hits well in a song like this, the right balance of like soothing, calm energy with something to still kind of keep you a little bit pumped and like paying attention the whole way through. And the song is long, right? It's like almost 5 minutes, and I never got bored. I gave it a 4.25. I definitely don't think this is perfect. I think that intro is just far too long.
But if the album hadn't already had an intro,
but I like the overture more than I like the piano part, dude. So for me, I'm going to say keep the overture, which I thought was in and of itself kind of pointless. But if I had to choose between this piano part and that overture, this piano part's a lot of why this song didn't get a 5 for me. I know you guys might like it. For me, it was just like, when is the song going to start? And I didn't know it was the bridge because I've never heard this song before in my life. So for me, it was like the first time hearing it.
What if I told you could take the blue pill and have no introduction?
Okay, sure. Okay. All right, you tell us what it is. Comments. We'll let them decide.
No. Let her speak.
No, I'm just saying about our overture debate, dude.
I don't care.
Either way, I dig the track a lot more than I thought, and I feel like for me, this is already in like when I'm in a certain kind of mood while I'm like writing or something. This is perfect background music. So I feel like it's got a role in my life, which always gives it a better mark. Okay, now.
Okay, well, the one thing that I kept having to remind myself while listening to this is that, again, it's not really the point, as well, as she says, and why she did it was to really kind of, like, look at the music in a new way and give it a new face. So when I compare it to other stuff, it's like, what is this song? What did you do to it? But if you try and look at it through that perspective of what she is trying to do, then it's a whole different thing. And so for this song, so like we said, it's off the self-titled album, and I find that whole album, what I thought of it was that it had like a very self-empowering vibe to it. It was intense and a lot of like guitar and everything. And so this song even started like super just powerful, like in the original version.
Oh, okay.
In the original version, not here.
Okay.
Here it started with the bridge, but like solely piano, and it kind of just
Which is cool.
goes in. So what I really liked about it, because at the beginning I was like, really? Like, this was one of my power songs, and I loved it. And then when I really listened to it, I realized they redid the vocals, and I feel like the vocals really fit with the kind of music and just her expression throughout everything.
I'll agree with that.
And then there's still a, like you said, there's still like a nice vibe to it in the sense that it's not, I don't know, like there are drums and different things.
Listen,
Yeah.
once the drums and the beat and everything, or how, I don't know how else to describe it. It's a beat. It doesn't feel like anything else. Once that shit kicks in proper, it is truly divine to me. It's just a very slow start.
So I
Most
think
of this album is very much saved by its beats.
Okay, go on. Sorry, we're interrupting the lady.
No, but I think it's an interesting way. It's kind of like, also if you look at the lyrics, it's another way of putting it that makes it feel different and makes you look at it and understand it differently, rather than like before when it was just like, never go back.
Yeah, and I really found like this instrumentation really frames her voice much better than a lot of the very heavy metal guitars that we've been used to from this band. Like, it almost felt like two separate things going on. It used to, and now it feels like we are listening to an accompaniment of a very accomplished singer, which is cool.
Yeah, she is a very good singer.
It feels real. It feels less studio production, because as we're gonna go through the other songs too, you can hear it, and you can hear that everything is not 100% perfect this time, and there are little cracks or little like note pitches that aren't exactly perfect, but it gives it so much more emotion, I find.
So would you say there are mistakes on this one?
Would you say there's a high-low
I
situation?
didn't rate it yet.
Oh,
Okay, well,
It's a 5. Okay.
well, actually,
five.
I don't agree. At the very beginning, when Syd said he gave it a 5, so did you. Oh, I'm pretty sure
Oh.
that happened.
All right.
hashtag spoilers.
Oh shit,
right.
that
High-low.
happened. High-low is the next song. Paid attention. Woo! I was so excited to see that Lindsay Stirling was providing some of her violin magic to this track, because weirdly enough, I've seen her all over YouTube. She's done shit with pentatonics. She's done covers with like a whole bunch of other like pop songs and shit. And she's got a fucking swagger to the way she does this violin shit, where it's just like, it's magical. Like it appeals to people who wouldn't normally go for like violin music. Like she manages to put this pop personality behind it to make it like fun. In the same way that violin bridge was fucking dope. She does that to like everything she touches, and it's always fucking gold.
I'm so happy that you're like a mega fan of a YouTube violinist.
Well, I don't know if she's like a YouTube violinist.
That's
I know
cool.
her through YouTube. She's probably a
Or like a
paid
real violinist,
professional
whatever.
musician who is way better at musicking than I am, because, well, she's cool. Anyway, otherwise, yeah, then there's this song, High Low, that is original material for this album, but was written for the 2007 album or whatever.
Oh.
The Open Door.
And then it was, like, scrapped because they were like, it's not going to fit on this album. And then it
Close
took
that
them,
door.
like, 10 fucking years, I guess, to, like, open the door again and put it on this album. So it got
wow.
like
Full
put on
circle.
this,
Yeah, this
which
looks
is
like
cool.
It fit in the other one.
And so it's an original tune, which is really smart to put early on the album, because we only got like
They're
two
all
of them,
original.
original and new. No, I mean,
Yeah, we disclosed
actually,
it's fine.
original requires a degree of distinction. So the second you duplicate it, it's no longer an
Oh my
original
God.
authenticity. Fuck that shit. Original. I'm gonna keep
Okay.
my language. We all understand at this point what the fuck I mean, okay?
Beautiful.
So then I don't know. She's always this one's a bit long, and it's got a slower, dreary tempo, and you get the feeling that she's like politely saying to this person, "I'm totally done with your shit. I've moved on. I ain't mad. It's kind of like is what it is."
But I never forgot you.
Yeah, that part too. She it's like she acknowledges in the first verse these like really I don't want to say cheesy, but let's say not very deep lyrics that are kind of describing how this person's undone all the help she's given them and is slowly pushing them away. And you know what? I'm just not in the headspace to fully relate to the lyrics of this song, but her delivery is pretty good, and in general, it's kind of sweet. But it wasn't like the most interesting track either. It was just slower and calmer and didn't do a lot for me the whole way through until the violinist kicked in. And I was like, yeah.
What's her name?
Lindsay Stirling, yeah.
There you go.
And that's like almost 4 minutes into the track, I think. Like, so
That's a long one.
So you gotta like really, really fucking wait to get to the good stuff. Anyway, I guess it's a 3.75. It's technically great. Like it's well made. It's truly not bad art. It's just totally not my cup of tea, and it's hard to give it a high mark.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. I think it would have actually fit on another album. Yes, I'm speaking. Thank you. Okay, yeah. So I think I really liked it. I mean, I did really like it. It was very soft, and at the beginning too, I started to think, okay, like another soft song, all right. Like I was expecting, if it's their new song, not original, that it would, maybe be a bit more something like Imperfection, and it wasn't. And then when I really just continued listening to it and read the lyrics, it was like, oh, I don't know, it has meaning to me for certain situations, right? So definitely I'm going to like it more because it's like, oh my god, like these
10
lyrics.
years ago, I probably totally would have related to this track right there with you.
And some people could really relate to it, older, younger.
Agreed.
I mean,
and I'm not saying that.
No,
it's totally not targeted at 30-year-old men.
No.
So just to like create that there is a bit of a bridge of gap of the intended audience of this music in my life.
The thing is, I don't even know that she's targeting anyone with her music. I feel like her music is very much her catharsis. Like she puts to paper what she's feeling and doesn't really care if it's going to resonate with.
So
and by that logic, it will resonate very well with 14-year-old girls because it is very personal, sad, breakup-y.
I mean, at the same time, the girl knows who her market is when she's writing the music. She knows exactly. I mean, maybe you're exactly right, and she managed to be like, I'm super authentic, and then said, who likes that? That's kind of a way to look at it, too. Just to say, I don't disrespect her honesty in her music. It very much feels like open letters from her diary on every single song, which is not a bad thing, and it's not even meant to be a criticism. Hell, I love it in other delivery mechanisms. I'm just not as into it in the way she does it all the time.
I thought it was interesting, though, in the way that it was, just even lyrically, it wasn't just, it kind of had a conclusion to it, whereas to just saying, like, I feel like this and it sucks, it was more...
I feel like this and move on type thing.
Kind of, and you can get past it, and yes, you're still stuck, but this... Anyways, that's like a whole lyrical part of it. But one thing, too, that was interesting was... in the, I guess, bridge, when she would sing like high or low or whatever, it was like kind of like in End of the Dream, what she used. So a lot of,
which is from which album?
From the self-titled album too. So it's kind of, and it's very much her signature, which was really interesting to find in this, when she really takes a note and kind of belts it long and goes up and down, and it was very much like the intro of or not End of the Dream of one of the songs. I can't remember right now.
It's okay. But we will.
I need sleep.
I thought this song was sexy as fuck. You guys apparently missed that, or didn't agree with that, or didn't feel... Because it's got this just, like, creepy rhythm, and everything is really soft and almost menacing, but not in like an evil way, but like a sultry kind of, and as sexy as dark symphonic electronic industrial metal can get,
which it can get really fucking sexy.
It can get really fucking sexy. And I mean, look, I've called Marilyn Manson tracks sexy in the past. I've called Ministry tracks sexy in the past, so I can call an Evanescence track sexy in the past. You can go fuck yourself if you find this is sexy and you're into this.
This is to me not a sexy track, but you can let us know in the comments below.
Let us know.
Tickety Chris Chrome.
Tickety Chris Chrome. Hashtag tickety. I liked the rhythm a lot. I felt like the chorus didn't quite reach the heights that it was aiming for with that like hi, where she's
New
like
Way
belting.
to Bleed. It was the intro of New Way to Bleed. That's what it was.
Solved it.
There.
Solved it.
Solved it. Because like.
Violin part though, fucking ripping.
Yeah, that's it. It's my favorite part.
I wrote that down.
Best part of the song.
It was good.
It's better than Amy Lee. Saying it now.
on this one. But again, she
instrument.
sang the verses very, very well. And
She did.
Okay, in general, she sings very, very well. I just felt like the chorus didn't, like, there was a height that it was trying to reach, the same kind of height that a lot of these tracks try to reach, that, like, big, belty, anthemic chorus, and it just didn't quite nail it.
But I think they did that within reason, because it's also really soft and a sad song. And if she went full on, like, power into the then
She
it probably would have
does
been
kind
like
of go full on power,
but she keeps, I don't know, I think that she keeps it at the right notes too and at the right intensity, and it's not like,
to be fair, I'm not, and this is a personal thing, I'm not a fan of choruses that are just you know, I prefer a chorus to have some kind of syllable
I love how we
count.
explain things here. It's
You
No,
know,
it's important because, like, what I'm going for with these shows is that when you're watching it, you're like, fuck, I could have just done this on the fucking couch. This is what I sound. Or you're, like, completely disconnected. Like, what the fuck are these white people talking about? And that's a whole other show usually, so.
But, like,
anyway.
look, I still gave it a 4 on 5. I thought the song was good. It's not like, I didn't feel it to the point where, like, my heart is broken.
I give it a 5.
See?
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. You gotta start giving your grades.
I know. I'm bad at this.
Or
practice.
you should take into consideration what she's saying and go, Kristen, what did you give it? Did you give a grade? Are we certain here? Yes.
Thank
Now we
you.
know it's a 5, so fuck it. My heart's broken.
Thank you.
Look, motherfucker.
Better for voice, worse for posture.
That's
All
good
right.
for your posture to practice applying good posture. This song, this song is when I realized.
Chris define.
I don't know.
Oh
That's
my God.
anyway. This song here is just like the other two, and I realized, holy shit, Amy Lee kind of like sings every song the same. Maybe there's differences I'm not noticing in my ignorance, but to me it sounds like this could have been like Bring Me to Life, as I know that, you know, Syd was singing it a little bit before, and like you can really hear how, as talented as she is, it's not that different. Like, you can see some less talented people do a lot more diversity in the way they come at songs than I saw, which is cool, because she hits this sound particularly well, and as we went through it, but like the beat wasn't quite as engaging, and I feel like, so it's going to be a lot of this. Like, this is the third song, and we realized this is what the whole album is. It's going to be this particular sound, and it's when it really hit me. And I don't know, the song is kind of like her heart's broken over sad things. She kind of makes it sound like a love song, only without the romance. So it feels exactly like the broken-hearted tracks of her broken heart, but has nothing to do with like a man per se, but it's more like my heart's just broken in general over loss. And apparently it's inspired by some work she did with some organization to help some ladies that were having some bad situations.
Which is cool.
I'm trying to say that as clean as possible. But and I respect that. And anyway, I can see where she drew her inspiration, and she conveys pain really, really well. But it really did just feel like a love song that wasn't necessarily about a love song, so it wasn't the most interesting to me. I gave this a 3.25. I don't have a lot more to add here.
I mean, it was interesting compared to the original. And actually, what I found, which I liked about this, was that in the chorus there was still an intensity like the original song, and it was pretty much similar. And then in the verses, it really wasn't. And I think that was actually, according to just the lyrics and the whole messaging of the song, it felt more accurate than the original one, which was just like in your face, like,
but did you not feel
so,
like they turned her volume right the fuck down, and like it should have been a little louder for that intensity?
Yeah.
And it felt a little squished, and the music around her was gaining a lot more attention than her vocal track, at least on this particular song.
I feel like that's kind of also the point of the album, is more the music this time than the vocals and the lyrics. And what was nice too, again, is the fact that when it was re-recorded, I noted there were certain things, just little tiny things, even when she would, in her words, and it was kind of like slight cracks, but like not oh my god, I messed up, like super emotion. And I liked it. I mean, I feel like it really represented the meaning and the words better than the original. But
What'd you give it?
Yeah,
I gave it
so
a
Syd doesn't cut you
4
off.
to 4.5.
So we'll call that a 4.25 because it's right in the middle.
Yeah. Again, I felt like the percussion was the coolest part of this track.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. And I feel like that for a lot of this album, and I agree with you. This is where you start to realize that, like, this album is going to be a lot of very slow, dark, sad, melodramatic jams. And, like, I just felt like the music on this one in particular wasn't as interesting as it had been. So, like, the percussion really saved it. But the delivery, the vocals, the whole "My Heart Is Broken" thing, like, there's no surprises on this song. It's called "My Heart Is Broken," and it's exactly that. Like, that's what you get. So if you're not in that exact mindset,
I just gotta throw it out there. I think even Christen agrees a bit because this didn't get that excited 5.
No.
Yeah, this didn't get the excited 5.
And
It got between a 4 and a 4.5.
What I found weird about it was towards, like, maybe it was the bridge or the end. It was more major than minor for some reason.
Yeah.
There was, like, some weird switch of the piano, and then suddenly it was like,
And
it's
sometimes
like, what's happening? This is supposed to be sad.
Sometimes a key change from major to minor or minor to major really works and really, like, twists you around. You kind of go, oh, like, yeah. And there's a couple of parts on this album later on, hashtag spoilers, where it actually does that very well. But this one kind of felt like James Bond meets Midsummer Night's Dream.
Right.
And the juxtaposition just didn't quite work. So I gave this one, I was still nicer than Holden. I gave it a 3.8. Just because it's, the singing is good.
Look, if you're an Evanescence fan, and I imagine a lot of you are,
you'll
probably really dig a lot of these tracks unless you didn't like the original, not the new original. Fuck off, Holden. Anyway, I don't know. That's what it is. If you're an Evanescence fan, you'll probably love this shit. I am not the biggest Evanescence fan, but I can appreciate the music for what it is.
Yay.
So, Lacrymosa.
Is that a hit or something? Like Lacrymosa? Anyway. This one is...
Set your guilt free. Okay.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Anyway, so this guy is, like, slightly better than the last one, but not, like, moving towards good. Look, a lot of these, I haven't heard any of these songs before in their original forms. I have no emotional connection to these remakes she has done, so I'm just kind of, like, listening to it for the first time here. And it's like, damn, I'm not one who really likes it when in an album, the songs don't really change a lot in terms of their, like, thematic base, right? You'll have seen that if you've been watching this for a minute. If you're new here, one of my criterias for, like, enjoying it is that as you go through, you get hit with new subject matter. Like what Nickelback did on Feed the Machine and making every song different was really fucking impressive.
Fuck all of you, that album is awesome.
It really is. And I was saying it for reasons like that, where, like, it was 11 songs, 11 subjects. That was fucking crazy. Here we're on, let's say, the 4th track, this, and it's just, I mean, yes, you can argue, well, Holden, technically speaking, they're all about something very specific, but they're all, again, like, loss. This is about a guy that she can't be around anymore because she can't be herself around him, and now she's feeling kind of free. And I'm like, all right. But the last one was like a love song that wasn't a love song. The one before felt like a platonic, like, ending to a love song, and then the one before, again, more emotions of bad things related to love-ish stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I'm already losing a bit of interest personally on the thematic front because it's just not at all my interest of music. But the music was better. I like the part where it cuts to her just being a cappella for a quick minute because it was very beautiful and it sounded well. I like how the track, like, just in general flows with that same kind of cool mixture of, I like to, like, see it kind of like this, like, symphonic orchestral sound does meet that electronic sounds. Like,
yeah.
And it blends it in a way that's, this is ambiance music to me. Like, if I'm sitting there with a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet in front of me with 4 hours of copy and pasting, this is the right kind of background music to just be there, but outside of that context, I can't really see myself vibing to this track. So for me, it's a 3.5. It's not bad. It's just meh.
Christen?
I was unhappy with it, I think, because I really liked the original song, and I think the best part of the original song was that it was really like a piece from Mozart, right? It was a choir piece, and then she kind of took it and made it her own and kept part of it and everything. And here it's like, there is no choir, and then suddenly she starts filling in for the choir.
Apparently Lacrymosa is a choir thing, and I sounded stupid before.
Yeah, it is. It's a
classical piece.
classical choir piece, really fancy. But yeah, it's like then she decided, well, I'm gonna do all of the background stuff for this, and it was like, what are you?
Okay, I need to correct you
What are
guys.
you
I'll
doing?
just
Or-
because I actually I
Yeah.
sang Lacrymosa in choir
Listen,
when I was a
I'm just
teenager.
admitting my ignorance off the
No,
jump,
no,
yo.
I'm just. This is not, like this is not the classical composition.
No,
like
this
she
is
takes
not-
little bits
yeah,
and
and
pieces
the other part
of
too,
it.
yeah,
Lacrymosa, like she takes that.
Yeah, and she kind of sings
blends into
over
the
it
background.
and does
But
her
other
own
than
thing.
that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's an Evanescence song. It's
Yeah.
not like Mozart didn't write this.
No, no. But she took like really in the original version. There's a lot of still, like it's very present and it's very obvious, especially if you know it. And now it's kind of like there's just a removal of that, and it's really about her lyrics, I guess, which is great and it's cool and it's nice that it starts with again the main sentence from the bridge, which is really again she sings it in silence even in the original one, so it's very moving. But it's just for me it was like, why are you being the choir now, and why are you just removing everything and completely taking over? I don't know.
I also don't understand why she has to play the martyr, take the blame role in a lot of these songs, personally.
You don't know her life.
I don't know her life, but the way she presents herself lyrically, I can see where she's gaining the empathy points. But then the part of me that grew up from that is going, but at the same time, I can see how you're really playing for the sympathy points and a lot of these things to frame yourself as the victim in nearly every situation where you are overcoming something, which isn't the worst thing, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to listen to victim music a lot, at least at this point in my life for me. And that is definitely something, I mean, you can tell me how she's trying to show how she's beating it, but like this song didn't need that, like, I can take your guilt line, in my opinion. Like, it didn't really need it, and it took the whole emotional maturity of the song and killed it for me. I wanted to throw that out there from a songwriter.
What did you guys give it?
3.5.
Like between to 375.
375. I like this one more than the first version on
Never heard it.
on the Open Door. I heard it.
You have to hear it.
They're not wildly different compositionally. Like the strings are the same, the vocal melodies are the same. But I really like the syncopation. I think it's brought out more. Like it's the same drum pattern, but on the Open Door, it's much more of a live drum sound, whereas on this one, it's much more of a produced kind of electronic beat, and it really accents the syncopation between her voice and how she comes in on odd beats over the music. It's really cool. I sang Lacrymosa in choir, so I have that personal connection to that little sample, which is cool because it was boring as fucking choir, and you know, to hear it in kind of a hard rock setting is always cool. I gave this one a 4.
Cool.
I like a lot of this is cool because I like the cleaner production versus the dirtier production on the more metal versions of these songs.
It's kind of like you're coming to the end of your dream.
Yeah.
Yo,
You're disappointed. You're so disappointed.
this is the first one where I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it took 4 minutes for the song to wake up.
And the song is
And
only
I'm sorry,
5 minutes.
It starts with this. Look, my headphones are pretty fucking solid. That shit was irritating as fuck to listen to. Maybe it sounds good in a bad headphone situation, but it was irritating.
It's a buzz. It starts with a buzz.
Fuck. It's not a note of anything. It's not an inch. It's just this synthesized.
It's feedback.
Analog.
It's feedback. It starts with feedback.
And then it goes at a really because there's nothing else. It's just that monotone, flat sound. And then as she starts singing over it, they like cut it to like a reasonable level of volume, and it's no longer grating and This is how this song is gonna start for me every single time. You can tell I wasn't very impressed. And then it's just this slow death march to dreariness, where yeah, I get it. She's trying to create this like lucid dream state, and like she's thinking about like appreciating life because she was by the grave, and then she saw a bird dying, and she's like, my life is so full of pain and awful and darkness, but I can overcome, conquer, and live through the pain. And I'm like, that's the whole song with this slow dreariness, and when it picks up, oh shit, that last minute, I feel it. That last minute. I really do.
You felt it.
Because it like overcame and conquered up in my head. That was some like emotional growth or something in this song. But fuck, the first 4 minutes are not good. Now, you may disagree with me, and I expect to get hated on and shit for this
your
review.
opinion,
I
so.
know, but that doesn't make Evanescence fans. They're not going to like what I'm saying here, unless you agree with me. In which case, I would love to have some. But do you guys like that sound? Like does people anyway? So I gave this shit a 3 because I can respect that it's a well-made, composed song. About lyrics, I'm not going to empathize with. And if it wasn't for that sound, and maybe if they'd picked something nicer, it could have been cooler. But the way it ends is good enough to make it a 3.
Oof.
Because of the end. So
That's
without the
rough.
end, what would it have been? Oh,
Probably in the ballpark of a 2. And I've given maybe 5 things under the grade of 3 ever on this fucking channel. It was that obnoxious hearing
And a
to
lot
me.
of them were the Arcade Fire.
No. No, it's on par with that one song the girl sings there with that high-pitched grating
Yeah.
voice where you just
Need
can't
to
like
turn it off.
oh, and 4.5 minutes. This is 5 minutes. 5 minutes of this, and only the last minute. It's 20%. 20% is a fail in most things. I was kind enough to bump them to a 60 for effort, because it's well made. And Amy Lee sings excellently on every song. She's right. Depth, range, emotion, crackling voices, and all of it. That's not what the issue is here. It was the beat turned on me.
There was no beat.
It was the sound. So Amy Lee did her thing. But like we talked about that, and it hasn't changed much to me. So same thing, not new or interesting. Okay, go on. I'm gonna
So
get
there's a
hated.
3, Kristen.
Okay. So the original song is very, very, very intense, and it just starts, and like I showed you guys too, it just starts with like bam in your
It's got
face.
like a big riff, like
And
a
it's-
big metal riff.
It's very like this is more of an empowering vibe, right? And it's like end of the dream, and then here it's really the complete opposite. And so yeah, definitely like it does
It's
give.
definitely a powerful and memorable experience.
It is. It's powerful in another way, right? So it's kind of like it's very, very silent, and I'm gonna make maybe the weirdest parallel ever possible, but it's just so I am a huge super fan of the Phantom of the Opera, and I have seen it live 6 times.
Did
Yeah.
you go to the most recent one in Montreal?
Phantom shirt.
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
That's why I wore it. Okay.
She's super proud of her Phantom shirt right now.
I am. It's cool. Okay, but so the point is, the whole thing is like reminds me exactly of. So there's a scene where she's in a graveyard and like her father's dead, and it's this whole like long thing of her walking in the snow and like, oh my god, an impact of just silence. And then this is like the same thing with this song. Hey, the same thing with this song is exactly that. It's just like very slow and very like super dramatic, and to me, it's really not. It's not what the song is to me because of the original version. So I mean,
You know what? That's interesting. Before Syd gives his analyst tangent point, I like the fact that you're bringing it up, because that's the danger in doing an album like this. Is you're remaking something. It's like every other remake ever. It's gonna either go over really well or really bad based on your empathetic connections to the original song, and it becomes really hard to like. I like a lot of covers of songs I don't already like. But I don't like a lot of covers of songs I do really like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, just to throw it in.
Having said that, Bring Me to Life is next.
Hold-
but
no, but like anyway, no grades have been given.
I haven't even given my opinion yet, but I'm just,
Rude ass-
spoiler
I haven't
alert.
even-
Bring Me to Life is next, and that is the part of this review that you've all skipped, so you're skipping this part. I'm sorry, you skipped 2, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
everyone skipped to Bring Me
I'm
to Life.
certain somebody liked Lacrymosa.
Yeah, somebody did.
No, I
What
mean,
was your grade?
I give it like a. I don't know why it says that here, but I think I'd give it like a 3.5 because it's. I think it was probably from her point of view and her artistic choice and whatever she wanted to
Respect it.
convey from it is one thing, and that's great. It's just for me, it was like, it was a whole different thing.
So I would like to say
whole different experience.
just to cut Sid off one more time. It was a bit of a mistake to make such a grating fucking noise.
But I think that was the atmosphere too that she was going through, and
Oh,
if
it was
there's
painful.
but if there's a whole graveyard and eerie aspect to it, really, it kind of made
All
sense.
I'm saying is that when it's uncomfortable to a point of displeasure, you have gone too far.
I didn't
So-
find that, but yeah.
Displeasure. Great if you're in a graveyard. I actually didn't mind the
Let's
effect.
go hang out in the
I,
graveyard and
uh,
listen to music.
Which every Thursday night, but I didn't mind.
After we record our Orville review.
Yeah, this is actually a graveyard. This wall is being held up by Tombstones. But
Alright.
I didn't mind the feedback at the beginning because it's very stark and very dry and very cold, and that's what Amy Lee's vocals do, like the a cappella, and it goes on for a solid 2 minutes, and it's like this. But she does kind of kill it. Like she kind of steals the scene on the beginning of the song so much that it could have just been a 2-minute her singing over this dreary sound, and I would have liked it a lot more.
Yep, the part where she sings over it is much better.
Yeah.
Go listen to the original and you'll see it's
the original is very different. There's a little xylophone part that, agree with me or not, is the minor version of the fa la 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 from Deck the Halls.
I think it was very much of a like musical theater aspect to it.
Yeah, to the point that it sounds like a Christmas carol. And when you look, there's a lot of cheese on this song. There's more cheese on this song than there has been on any of these other songs. And it got to the point where, yes, the ending is big, but it's so cheesy that I couldn't get on board. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't feel that big emotional realization.
So what'd you give it?
Hey man, you getting bored?
I'm getting totally bored.
Getting a little bored?
Because like the people out there, I just want to talk about the next song.
Listen, you can skip when you're rewatching this after you've edited it all. I gave it a 3.8 just because it's fine, but it's not super fine.
That's right.
Anyway, what do you want to do, Holden?
I want you to bring me to life.
Aww.
Like, I know this song. This is the first one on the album that, like, who doesn't know this song?
Everybody knows this
you
song.
know, like, it came out, and I really fucking like this song in the sense of, like, I've enjoyed it. Mostly because of that, like, I could sing along, like, being a backup vocalist to Amy Lee, which was fun. And then I never paid attention to, like, her part of the lyrics before, like, in, like, the verses and stuff.
Like,
mostly because it's like, like it's a little hard to like understand her on that first album for me. I'm just saying, you guys can look at it differently. That was me at like 14, like be kind to 14-year-old me. So I never paid attention. I was just into the wake me up. That's what I wanted. Anyway, the whole and it was the rap part of all this time. I can't believe you. Like that was the best part of the song for me.
In front of me.
That's what like hooked me. That was the thing that snagged me, and I never got it again on Evanescence. And it was very bait. I know it's not their fault, but it was very bait and switch. I know it's not their fault. I'm establishing, fans out there. I'm not blaming them. It was just okay. But like, man, this song is cheesy as fuck. That's what I had to throw out there. Like, when you actually look at the lyrics, this is the cheesiest song we've heard to date in terms of lyrics across the board. It is a giant like she wrote it when she was 14, kind of cheesy, which is cool, no disrespect. And then this version comes on. And so it starts off, and it honestly it fits because her voice has a haunting feel to it.
Very haunting.
That's a
They
word.
should have done haunted. They didn't do haunted.
Yes.
And they went through it, and like then we're building up to the chorus, and I'm waiting for it, and I'm like, I'm gonna be disappointed, and then it's just empty. Wake me up inside, and it's empty. Save me, and it's empty. And then okay, fine, they're gonna do something cool with the bridge or something. No, it's just like her part left in the same like timing and everything, and in your head you just can't not hear his voice, right? Like, so maybe if you've never heard the original song, cool. And I know Amy Lee's gone on record saying she hated the rap part. Okay. But fuck, man, I couldn't hear the song right because I couldn't hear it without him. Just use the original vocals from the track. This song might have been a lot better. But as a result of that, I guess for me, I was just too caught up on the contrast, and my love of that part was my favorite part of the song got stripped out of it, right? It's like, how can I really truly love this version? But it is well made. What they do with the music is super excellent, and from like that side of it, it's really cool.
So what'd you give it?
3.5. I'm okay. If Syd wants to be like that, game on, motherfucker.
I mean, I'm gonna come in with all the counterpoints.
All right,
Christen.
Okay. Well, I have like one little thing that I just noticed, which I think was interesting to point out, because when you were saying like at the beginning, with her vocals, and you couldn't really, or like understand, I guess, what she was saying or whatever.
Well, you can in this version.
Okay. I don't know. So one thing that I found.
I'm talking about like the version of 2004.
Yeah. I don't know. One thing that I found in actually performing her music from different albums is just that definitely her vocal range and just her performance definitely changed and improved over the albums because I couldn't hit all the notes in this one and I cannot hit anything in the last one. So like that might just, I don't know, that might be a reason too that maybe it...
I mean, yeah, I assume that at this point she is far more technically proficient at her craft of being a singer than she was. Yeah. But that doesn't change the cheese factor. All right, Syd, do it.
Wait, she wasn't done.
Are you not
I'm
done?
not done. No, I didn't even
God.
give my opinion on this song.
See, I guess I'm just impatient.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Holden's had too much coffee.
People of YouTube, I recognize I'm a narcissistic asshole and I'm working on it.
Okay.
Should listen more Amy Lee.
Yeah. Keep going, please.
No, I just this song made me kind of sad just because I don't know. It's Bring Me to Life is just the song that everybody knows, and it's the song of Evanescence, and it's just like a classic of Evanescence, and it's something that you bring me to or wake me up, and everyone's like, oh my god, people who don't even listen to any kind of music other than what's playing right now, and so there was no.
It's not Migos.
There was no drop. There was
you know
nothing.
What, though?
There was no.
On that note, it kind of had the crossover, like everybody knew it popularity of something like a Bad and Bougie does, where everybody knows it, even though like
You might not know that song.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's not that good. No.
But I found.
Cooking up dope with her news.
I don't
That
know.
was appropriate though, even if you've never heard it.
Well, that's they do it on every song.
This
They
is
just
where
do
it
that.
really came in. Anyway, we're just cutting you off all left, right, and
It's
center.
okay. It's okay. It's not okay. Don't worry.
It's like
I'll,
in The
I'll
Office.
get revenge.
I understand.
No, I don't know. I didn't. It was weird, and it sounded happy actually more than anything. Without not happy, but it sounded like when she's wake me up inside, right? And she's just singing with like this synth, and she's like wake me, rather than like anger. And then so the fact that there was also the male vocals, just it felt like something was missing, and I do agree in the point of this album where what she's trying to do is bring different life to the songs and all that. It's really what she intended, but at the same time not, because it's not the original music, because she actually released the original song without a male vocalist, but with everything.
Which is totally cool. And I acknowledge the subjectivity and the bad critical reviewer side of my opinion. Okay, that doesn't mean I could ever hear this song without that part playing in my head.
I mean, look, it took a lot of balls for her to pick this song and put it right in the middle of an album of re-recorded versions.
It was the lead single.
It was, but I mean, look, when a band does this, like for example, okay, so Yellow Card a couple years ago re-released Ocean Avenue, but all acoustic versions. But they didn't fuck with the structure too much. They didn't fuck with the composition too much. So it's more or less the same songs, just a little more mature sounding, a little more adult sounding. You go back to an album like Reanimation, for example, Linkin Park, or Suicide Season, Bring Me the Horizon did remixes of their tracks. And a track like In the End, right, which is like Linkin Park's most popular track, whether or not. And I actually prefer the remix version.
I know,
but
it's a good remix. Like,
but they're not gonna advertise that as like, look, we remixed In the End. Even back then they weren't gonna, because who cares about the remix version, right? So on this one, where it's like a re-recorded version, it doesn't hit as hard. There's no way it's gonna hit as hard as the first time audiences heard this song. So straight off the bat, it's missing a little bit of that punch. But I did still get chills when the chorus came in, even without the dude going, wake me up, like I was expecting it. But the way the orchestra just hits and there's a fucking gong and a poosh, wake me up, and like it still feels big and it still feels really triumphant. And I mean, look, say what you will, that chorus is fucking timeless.
Agreed.
Even without the dude.
Less so.
But I will say the middle part where there's the interplay between the two of them on the original. All this time, I can't believe I couldn't see her. I've been sleeping 1,000. And on this version, she still does that, but they kind of try to emulate his vocals with like a tuba. It's really strange, and it doesn't work. And I felt like they could have just cut that part out entirely, shortened the song, and now it's a different version of the song and has a point to being here. But this, they took the same structure and tried to model a new instrumentation around it instead of trying to remodel the song for a new album. And that's where I think they failed. But I mean, I still gave it a 4 because, again, I do still like the song, and I still like her vocal parts. Maybe it's the nostalgia. I used to sing this at karaoke at bars when I was 17, going there underage. So there's a lot of memories to this song for me, and the melodies are still really cool. They're, they haven't aged poorly for me. So
what you could be saying here is it's almost like your memory is not unraveling through the interlude of this song.
I was.
So we have another, basically everything I said about Overture, in the sense that it's caught its purpose of being a little bit of interlude, except with the additional notes. It was inspired by Beethoven's first movement, Moonlight Sonata.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what that is, because I don't know. I'm sure I do.
It's pretty.
But it was inspired by that, and she wanted to have her little, I guess she played some piano here.
She's a pianist, yeah.
So she did her thing, and it's almost like, she's brought us to life, and we did this little interlude. And I don't know, it moves on to the next one, which is also from, I guess we're on the Fallen part of the album. So it gets its own thing. And I gave it a 3.5 because it's a very well-made thing. I feel like there's more life in it than the beginning. But I also feel like it's completely unnecessary for my enjoyment of the album. Like, this really did nothing for me. It was just this random piano loop that, like, we're already in the middle of this. It's not like the album was moving acts in a real sense.
No.
It was just an extra. I think it was like, we need to put some actual original content on this album. Let's do another little instrumental.
And it doesn't do anything different than any of the other intros on the album do. And this one just kind of reminds you that, like, oh shit, we're 8 tracks in and it's only half over.
Oh god.
A little bit. I don't know.
I don't really have anything to say. I mean, it was beautiful and it was nice and it served its purpose accurately and.
So what you give it?
3.8.
4.
All right. That was short, but imaginary things are really fun. Don't say I'm out of touch. So this might be one of the coolest tracks on the album, like flat out. Like, it's almost like from a musical front, they combed over this motherfucker every, like, bar by bar, I don't know how else to describe it, and finding ways to just enhance it and fluff it up along the way, or it just culminates into, like, this grand experience. And then from a lyrical front, as I understand it, Amy Lee describes this as the quintessential song that developed the Evanescence sound, is kind of how she puts it. But, like, there's an authenticity to the lyrics of this song I have not really seen comparatively. Like, this is like, she wrote this when she really felt this, as opposed to other stuff where it feels like she was trying to recapture certain emotions from a later perspective of, like, no, this was written in the middle of whatever the hell she was going through, and you can tell in the way she delivers it. Like, this song means something to her. It means, like, the effort put into this was just like a step up from the other 8 things I've heard so far, and I was like, fuck, eh? Man, they could have done some. My first thought was, shit, they robbed me a bit. Like, they could have done some really kind of fucking cool things with this album and didn't. It was almost like all lazy. And then this happened, and my entire perception of the first 8 songs got a little worse because this is so fucking good. And for me, this is a 4.5 on 5. And it's not perfect because it's not my favorite shit in the world, but it's still a little cheesy.
Have you listened to the other versions?
No.
Okay.
I didn't really.
But this was on Fallen, so you heard it.
No.
No?
I never owned Fallen.
Oh, you never. Okay.
My brother was into Evanescence for a minute, but, like, I wanted, like, Eminem and Fiddy. I didn't want Amy Lee.
All right, let's get down to business.
So yeah, 4.5 on 5, because to me this was truly amazing. Like, even without hearing the original, just for this album, to not compare it to anything else, it's the best track so far that's been put together. More effort, more energy, more love, more care to attention, a better overall experience. Like, there's no
came in, did its thing, bam.
It's a little too long for that.
A little too long for that, but I don't got no time to play around. What is this?
How long is it?
It's 4 minutes and 4 seconds.
That's not even the extended version. Okay, so for me, having listened to this particular album and this song over and over and over and over, and I performed it, and it was for a school project even that I submitted it, and then I listened to 2 other versions on Not For Your Ears and Origin, which are those 2 like demo CDs.
Christen likes Evanescence.
Yeah, no, what are you saying? And I don't have an Evanescence shirt on top of it. What is this?
Aw.
Just,
okay.
hinting. But, so the big thing...
Like Cindy, buy her a damn shirt.
Okay.
Exactly.
give me money
You
for
two
it.
people, buy her a shirt.
We need cash, okay?
Okay.
Please.
Not for her buying a shirt.
But I mean,
We just need picture this, but looking nice, so that you're not stuck looking at my ugly ass wall all the time.
I need like 6 new tattoos for
Alright, go
mental
on.
health reasons.
Go on, go on.
All right. But yeah, okay, so just comparing it to the other stuff, so this is, I guess, a different point of view of yours, is that it was the most empty one out of everything. So, yes, it was still well put together, but I felt like there was just a lot missing from it, and there could have been a lot more. And what I didn't like...
It's like my feelings of Bring Me to Life.
What I didn't like was how, because like the vocals are recorded, right, and how she sang it, it really didn't feel like what it was talking about. It was very like, it had like this determined sound to it. It was like...
It's like not even imaginary. It's like real, bro.
Exactly. Oh my God, it's not even. But like it just felt like it was much more lyrically intense, and it wasn't like soft
it was
and like
good.
dreamy. It was like, and I having listened to the other stuff so much and singing it, I just not crazy
That's
about
fine. I like this one.
it. But it's good.
What'd you give it?
What did I give it? 3.5.
Okay.
Boy,
Ooh,
go
low.
Lots.
I remember liking this one on Fallen. I'm a little surprised. I guess you said that this was something that she wrote, and she said that it was whatever one of the first things that. So I guess from her point of view, this is like a really important song.
She went as far as to say they've never done a set without playing it.
Okay, cool. I don't remember this one being one of the standout tracks on Fallen. Honest, and I actually like this version a lot more.
It's good.
I don't miss any of the heavy
Kristen's
guitars.
not having. She has that
Not having
nostalgia
it.
thing going on here.
Yeah,
That's
I love
okay.
that song.
She's like, I love my version.
Or the
You
other
know,
3.
Again, I paid money for that album. And that's something, because this, I grew up in the age of Kazaa and LimeWire and
Come on. You
No,
paid
it's
money
something.
for that album without having necessarily heard the whole album. Or did
No,
you
I
already-
listened to
okay.
the album a lot. When I was a kid and I was paying, or a teenager and paying, if I paid money for an album, it's because I really
I
cared
forget
about
that he's
that
a
artist.
couple of years younger than me, but that couple of years is the difference between Kazaa, LimeWire, and not.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Anyway,
I literally own every single CD. Like I went to HMV when
I'm
it still
not-
existed and bought it.
You
I'm
know,
not
I
that
like.
intense, but I did go to.
I
I might
remember-
have bought this one at Music World actually when it was still.
Like I remember the live CD was in my apartment, but like when I think it was my little brother's. He was more into them than me.
Okay, can I finish?
No.
No.
Can I finish?
No.
Anyway. Yeah, so I don't miss the distorted guitars. The middle sections are all super starting to run together at this point. I can't really differentiate them. They're all super cool and stringy and synthy and big, but they're not all that different.
Okay.
So just for the sake of the fact that I gave all the other ones a 4 that weren't all that different, I'm giving this one a 4.
All right. Let's go through the secret door and see what it leads to. Is it going to be Amy Lee singing over dreary music? This one's about a recurring dream Amy Lee was having, and she found some love and such, and then she wanted to like recreate that in reality, which is honestly the first song I was like, hey, at the base message, that's pretty fucking good. Like to conceive something, to see something that's impossible to have, and to like make it your mission to go out there and get it. I mean, fuck, that's how basically every famous person ever became a famous person, probably including Amy Lee. So at the end of the day, I actually liked the point of this song a little bit more. And like the music was okay. Like it was slower, kind of Amy, like it's like on the calmer end of the songs on this album, which was already a super calm album.
Have you heard the original
No.
too? Okay. Just curious.
Listen, all the songs I heard, you'll know when I heard a song.
He's heard Bring Me to Life.
I've heard Bring Me to Life,
He's
and
heard
I've
My
heard,
Immortal.
yeah, I even did, anyway, we'll get there.
Okay.
And then I know what a Lithium is, spoiler, it's the next track, but I know what that is because I already mentioned that
No,
earlier in the
yeah, it is
podcast.
close.
Either way, Secret Door did not make me want to go seek out the original track, though. I feel like for its placement on this album, anything that was going to follow that excellent experience of Imaginary was going to take a hit. This one took the hit. I give it a 4 because it actually is better than some of the boringer ones earlier in the album. I feel like this might be like now we're going. This has to be like not the self-titled album. Like,
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, no. Okay.
I think
Then
so. Yeah.
okay, and if it is, whatever. Like half this synthesis album is the self-titled one.
Mm-hmm.
But like
Yeah.
either way, it's not like great to me. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not terrible. It's not great. But like the music itself and the experience was pretty cool. It's a 4. Like I know what I'm saying doesn't like I'm just trying to separate
but it's
my
your
objectivity from my subjectivity,
Yeah.
you know?
It's also, you know, a lot of these songs, it's hard to say new things about them because a lot of them are very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you watch everything you saw before, this whole album review portion will make sense.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have a lot to say to it other than it's pretty much the same as the original, except they added like a beat of like drums, and that's pretty
There's
much
like
it.
drums.
Well,
on
because
it.
they're not actual drums. I don't know, like synthetic, like, or what is it? They added a beat that.
I think some of it is real. I
Yeah.
think some of it is real.
Or,
drums.
anyways, they added a beat, so it was just, and I felt that really the song, for the messaging and for the whole feel of like the mystical feel and everything, it just kind of took that away, and I don't know. So I mean,
It kind of reminded me, just the introduction reminded me of like a darker version of Lucy and the Sky with Diamonds.
there's
Okay.
nothing extra or special about it.
There's nothing extra special about it. It's another summery, Midsummer Night's Dreamy kind of
Cool.
walk through a night park. I gave it a 3.7 or 8 or something.
Yeah, 3.5.
I liked it more than you two after all that shit I talked. Anyway.
Let's go do Lithium.
No.
Come to bed, don't make.
Okay, so first of all, it sounds like there's a fucking rake at the end of this rendition of Lithium, and just like shh, shh. I mean, I think she was trying to find a syncopated rhythm with the track, and it didn't feel right. I had to like stop and be like, "Is there somebody banging on my fucking window or something?" When I first heard it,
That was me.
it was not pleasant. Look, either way, this is the song that made me stop liking Evanescence, right?
Oof.
So when
True.
when I got here, I'm just like, okay. And then I listen to the words, and again, it's just this dreary, romantic, I don't want to feel type. I mean, I get where she's coming from. I feel like she's trying to find a way to cope without the drugs. Okay.
It's withdrawal, I guess.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
But man, like, it seems like the least creative song she's done, really. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but like for all the ones, like, she tried less hard to write this one. It was just like super simple. And the music's kind of like, okay, actually. That's my favorite part of this. Aside from the rake sound, the music supports this song really well. And when you really get past I don't like the lyrics, but taking a step back, how she delivers them, the overall package of the song, it's all right.
Again, a great singer.
Yeah, but we've said that a bunch, and I've already said the music's good a bunch, so I was just left with the rake sound and the sappy lyrics. So 3.5 on 5 for me. It's not bad. I like this more than the original, but I also don't remember the original that well because it was a decade ago.
I really liked it. Well, I mean, I really liked the song, the original song especially, contrary to you. And I mean, I
It's
really
cool,
like
it's
the
cool.
lyrics and everything, and I don't know, I think it's a good song, but this one, I just found that it was very, really just focused on vocals and piano and kind of really discounted everything else from the original one. So it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. I don't know. I'm just really attached to the original one, I guess. So I don't know. And the intro it was a complete different vibe for what it was. So I don't know. I wasn't crazy about it, but I'd give it a 4 just because it was well done, well constructed.
Cool.
This is one of those songs where I'm not going to be fair, and it's not fair, and I'm saying it right here. I am not justified in this opinion, but when you have a song with a title, and it's purely just on title, right? Like an original title that's not it's not a girl's name or a guy's name, and it's not a title like Rain or like, you know, that's used by a bunch of artists. So Nirvana has a song called Lithium, and in 2006, when I heard this song, I immediately compared it to the Nirvana song because that's one of my favorite songs. Lyrically, I love Kurt's lyrics on that track, and it's the same thing like when Katy Perry came out with Dark Horse, and I'm like, okay, Converge has a song called Dark Horse, and I prefer that one.
It's like if anyone wrote a song called Sweet Child O' Mine,
You know,
mine.
that kind of thing, and it's not fair because they're not the same song, they're not the same style of music, they're not the same band, and I shouldn't have these opinions. But this song back then bored me.
Let me say, it's completely fair. Go on.
And this time it bored me. And this was one of my least favorite tracks here. I didn't particularly care for the melodies. I thought they were put together in a strange way. almost to the detriment of the lyrical delivery. I felt like she kind of, she could have been telling a story and she wasn't, and it should have been. It should have felt more personal, but it doesn't. And the music was just kind of a lot very samey as the rest of the album.
Yeah, we said that right.
Nine,
What'd you give it?
whatever.
What'd you
I
give it?
3.5 and Lost in Paradise.
This is another one that suffers from a really boring intro for me. The first 2 minutes is the calm, the whatever, but she's done it like 5 times on this album now, so it's like whatever. But then when it picks up, it's got this whole distinction to it that flies right back in and makes the beat and everything else more enthralling. As I understand it, this is the one she wrote to try to justify to her fans, I'm sorry that I made you all love me and then take so long to put out music. That's how she describes it. Like, literally, she's one of those artists that has a lot of quotes about every fucking song because she answers questions about what songs are about, which makes my life easier because I just can quote her to explain what she says it's about, especially when it's something that basically kind of sounds a bit like a love song in the same format as every other song she writes. And yeah, there's some differences to it, but she really writes most of her songs in this very formulaic way, and I'm sure it works real well for her, but it doesn't make me curious to want to care what she has to say at this point, especially like if this is kind of like her greatest hits remix album. I know it's not a remix, whatever. Then like, I don't know. Maybe there's no diversity to her general sound. Maybe that's just what she is, and you either love all of it or you don't. And I'm at a point where I like this song. I gave this another 4 because it like felt good. It was fun to listen to once it picked up, once that 2 minutes part came in. So that's really, really good. And I've said that too many times on this review, which just goes to show you, like, you can like look at me and be like, maybe you're missing something. Nah, this is just my impression, y'all. There's 100 and change albums. You notice when stuff changes or when it stays the same.
Grade?
4.
Okay.
I said it. You should listen.
It's okay. Christen?
I really love the original version, which is a piano version, and I've also played that, so probably more of an attachment to it, I guess. And it just, the beginning was very slow and not powerful, so like we said, like it picks up later on, and I like that part, and I like the build up, but piano versus synths, I'd go for piano because it just gives a better effect and a better sound, and makes it sound sadder. So I give
A little more alive.
With death. So I give it a 4.
And yo, sorry if we're rushing for all you people, but like as you can see, we took a lot of time to talk about some of those earlier ones. So just from a housekeeping front, our bad.
And again, it's kind of a long record, and we're getting to the end of it, and a lot of these are again very similar.
Same reviews.
I really wish the drums had come in earlier on a lot of these songs because they very much are, other than her voice, the saving grace of this record. Like
2 minutes of like nothing.
And the drum patterns are really, really cool when they are there. Like
exceptionally diverse and alive for something that's more or less the same on every. Like it's the same general core sound, but they managed to make it interesting song over song over song.
And I like that this one is a little more uplifting. It's a little more positive, but it's a little late in the game to just be doing that now. And again, had the drums come in a little earlier, I would have been a little more intrigued. So I gave this one a 4. And
your star is shining brightly after your grade because you agreed with me.
Frightened it away.
Another classic example of a boring-ass slow start to a song that evolves into some fucking complicated, interesting rhythms, diversity in life. This one, you can feel her loneliness and her longing and her pain and all of that shit. You know what? Fuck it. 3.5 on 5. I do dig the track, but I literally feel like it's too similar to the one I just heard in Feel. And at this point, I'm having a little bit of trouble enjoying it. Like, I know what comes next and I know the song. I never heard this song. I have no connection to it. To me, this is starting to sound like, yo, as much as you wanted to make this happen, Evanescence and Amy Lee, the album is starting to feel like it's dragging on to somebody who's not necessarily in love with the sound of what you're doing here, is my feelings. Anyway, go on. Somebody else can talk.
I liked it. I found that because they added a lot more of like different things, including some vocal effects, just made the overall effect of the song a lot creepier than the original, which is interesting because the original is very, again, focused on piano because it's what she does really well too. And I don't know, I really liked it. I liked the ambiance that it gave it. So
Fair.
I would give it a 4.25.
I couldn't get past the I can see your star, like she's yelling it.
Oh, that's
I was
the
just like-
original too. It's
I picked, I don't know what album this is from.
from the Open Door.
Okay. I just pictured dude yelling Stella and all the parodies of that, and I just laughed. I mean, and I know that's not the desired reaction to the song, but I couldn't help it. Like, I laughed out loud. I felt like at least the drums didn't take 2 fucking minutes to come in, which was a saving grace.
Yeah, but they took a little minute to get interesting.
It took a second, but
Yeah,
at least
slow intro.
there was some kind of driving backbeat.
Look, the song is literally 6 seconds shorter than the last one, and from a formulaic standpoint, was
It's
timed and paced
very
very
similar
similarly.
I gave it a 3.8, and
My Immortal is a better song because it's just a pretty cool fucking
That was
song.
a good segue.
But you still have.
When I first heard this track, it was the music video version. And the music video version of My Immortal, the original one, it's like magical. Right up at the end, you got that. And it like fucking picks into this beautiful drum thing, and it takes like the emotional attachment and experience of this song, and it culminates into this climax of joy and amazingness for a dismal song and shit. It's beautifully done. But on the album version, I discovered, because I do think my brother had this album, it's not there at all. It's
No.
just
Yeah,
no
but
drums.
There's 2 versions. There's her in the piano, and then there's the band version where it has like all the drums in there.
Well, on
but I think on the album,
on the
it's
Fallen version,
it's just piano.
it's just
There's two.
piano. And maybe
On the
there's a
album?
bonus disc or something.
Maybe there's a
And you
bonus
can
disc,
go
'cause I
look
don't
that
remember
up.
that.
But the version that my brother
Maybe
had
a
on the
special
disc,
one.
etc., like the bonus one. Either way, because then the music video came out after,
I
and
don't know, My Immortal and My Immortal band.
Yeah,
version.
it's a
I don't know.
little bonus track.
it's a
Two
bonus
versions,
track
huh?
that came out later on, or it wasn't. I don't know. But basically, that version was way better. And so all I was waiting for the whole way through, because this is really like, this song was just pianos, and it kind of sounded exactly the same otherwise, with a little bit of fluff added into the musicking. So I felt like if they had done some of that tricky ass drum rhythms at the end of this song to do that same elevation shit, it would have been like perfection. But it wasn't. It didn't happen. So just like in Bring Me to Life, I was left with the disappointing choices that were made by them. Not because they were mistakes or bad decisions, but because they didn't meet my hopes and
but they weren't
expectations.
good decisions.
They weren't stuff I wanted them to do. I recognized. Anyway, I love My Immortal. It's lyrically great. It is like one of those emo sappy songs that
is
just did it
Immortal.
perfect. I mean, I loved it enough to like write a song over the instrumental with the drums, that part for sure. And like, shit, I'm gonna link it below to self-promote, and you can click on that and be nice. I'm a shit sound engineer.
It was good still.
I'm a terrible sound engineer, is all I'm trying to say. Go on.
I literally wrote down I don't know what to think because I didn't, no positive, no negative. Again, the same thing as last time. The other version that I listened to versus this. I mean, it's just piano versus synth. What can you really compare? I just like the vocals on this one, and
Well,
I felt
in this
like
case, synth beat pianos.
I don't know.
mean,
I just felt it felt very raw and real, a lot more. Like it felt less produced. So I don't know. I really like the vocal aspect of this. So I'd give it like a 4, but it's nothing different really. I don't know.
In high school, this was one of those songs where it was like, no, I don't go home and turn on My Immortal and cry about how sad my life is. I don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, this is one of those guilty pleasure songs that like everybody
Sid.
listened to, but no one would
Seriously,
admit to
Sid.
listening to.
When you cry, I'd wipe away all of your tears.
You know what I mean? And you know what I realized? Even this version came on, and you can argue whether or not they needed to redo this song because it's the same. I never actually heard the full band version. I only ever heard
Hold
the
on.
piano version.
It's very much like when Metallica redid Nothing Else Matters with an orchestra, and you're like, oh.
But they did that live, and
I
it's
know.
that's
Live
different.
is
That's
different.
different. This is a studio album. That was a concert experience for Metallica.
Well, they do this.
But I
in
mean,
concert
and
with the orchestra,
I
so-
realized that I can never hear this song and not hold up my fist and go, "You cry."
Me
you know,
too!
You know what I mean?
Like
you-
this exact
it's
motion.
That chorus. So I'm giving this song a straight 5 because I'm giving the original a straight 5, and this song is
Nah.
more or less the original, and the chorus again is
Didn't have the
timeless,
drums.
just like Bring Me to Life.
Didn't have the drums.
I never heard the drums, and I still love this song.
Go check out the music video version with the drums after. bro, you're gonna give this a lower grade because the drums enhance it that much more.
Let us know which one you prefer.
Yeah, please.
All
three
in
or four
context
versions.
of my experience, I'm still giving the song a 5 just because it's a timeless fucking song.
And in the context of piano solos, there was the in between. His favorite part of the album just came on. The next piano solo part with no vocals and no Amy Lee, no cool synthy drums or anything, just a piano solo that comes in, it hits soft and it kind of does its thing sort of, and you're kind of questioning why it's there, but at the same time, like, it enhances my experience, unlike the middle one. So I feel like there was something to this, like we just did through My Immortal, and we're building up to, like, you know, an original song, brand new.
That's actually
like new.
That's actually original.
So like we can see we're coming into the end of this, and it's like this is the song before the end, and it's so like, I don't know. I got nothing else to add. 3.5. It's well made. I'm giving it the same grade as the other two. It makes me feel more like I'm in a theater while I'm in my room. Is its effect it had on me. I can picture her getting into it. Like, I can picture her head like turning as she's playing it a bit. I'm like, I don't know.
I love
Okay,
playing
that's it.
stuff like that. It's so much fun. Okay.
You're
Kristen's into it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I play piano and
Plays piano.
majorly Evanescence.
She likes Evanescence.
Okay, you're gonna repeat everything I say. Okay,
She
perfect.
likes long
So
walks on the beach.
exactly. Okay. So I just thought it was really, really like they did a good job because it's a good intro to Imperfection, and then you watch the video and. What do you find out? It actually has that at the beginning, and then it changes into Imperfection. It's kind of
Oh
one
my
song.
gosh, I didn't even notice that.
And I think it's a very, very, it's good because it starts off really like dramatic and slow and like what is going on, and then it kind of just slowly builds up until bam, and I really like that.
It just dawned on me that My Immortal and All of Me by John Legend are, for all intents and purposes, the same song.
Okay. So how do you feel about this piano solo?
You know what? I liked it more than the other two instrumental interludes. Maybe it's because they had to label it piano solo, so now, like, in my head, I'm in the state of mind, like, okay, now I'm going to hear a solo.
I found that Unraveling would have actually been a cool title for this because it does give that feeling of like...
But it's the in-between of My Immortal, and anyway.
It does what it does properly.
It's not imperfect. It's not an imperfect.
I like how it starts...
You didn't even let Syd have his grade.
I like
Well,
how it starts
I'm
off all
allowed.
fluttery, and I like how it gets darker, and I like how it's not too long. I gave it a 4.
Okay,
So-
now go ahead.
It's not an imperfection.
So apparently, this one took her a longer than normal time to write because she had trouble finding the right words to convey, and she pulled the Rivers Cuomo move and dropped the F-bomb.
Maybe because
What's
she
up?
hasn't been, like, writing new songs, so she's kind of out of practice.
Which is totally
She has.
whatever.
Oh,
She wrote her own stuff and a whole kids album. We
Might
talked
be-
about.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that this is what I saw. Again, Amy Lee likes to talk about her shit, which is cool. So she dropped the F-bomb for the first time in the Evanescence
number
career.
1.
And it's a fucked up place, is all I'm trying to say.
If I say fuck one more time...
I
this
know,
is my
I was
first
just
fuck.
thinking that too. Anyway, so yeah, Limp Bizkit, what? I like
Did
this
it off
song.
with a nookie. What?
You know what happened here? I felt like the same way I did with Imaginary, where like you felt like they stepped it up a notch and this whole came in, and it made me realize, why did they just make an EP or something of like 7 original fucking songs? If you didn't have to do a full fucking album, okay. But like, this was good. This was original music and new music. That's what I meant by original this whole time, in case you just popped in. I like the vibe is fresh, so it really fits this new sound she's trying to culminate. Like, she wrote it with this new sound in mind. It's not just a B-side. It's not just a remaking. It's like she knew what she was doing. It felt right. It felt authentic. It felt like a growing woman talking about her perceptions of the world and how things can be okay if you don't give up on yourself, which is surprisingly, like, it's the least narcissistic track she wrote on this whole album. Like, it's the most self-aware track on the album, and I really like the message. I really like the feel. I was like, shit, go make an album with more of this, because it was beautiful to me.
And that makes sense, right? Because it's not lyrics that she wrote 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's lyrics that she wrote in the last couple years. And this is reflecting her as a mature, grown, sophisticated artist as opposed to like an angsty young woman who's not quite sure of her.
Like when we do these older bands, when I mean the woman is far older than I am. at like 30, late 30s, maybe 40s. And all I'm trying to say is like, I want to hear these bands evolve and then make music that's older. It's like music has this problem where it just stops growing past the age of 25 and then all of a sudden you're 45. And there's this whole middle ground that never gets sung about. And this feels kind of there. And I was really happy for this. Oh, I'm saying 4.5 on 5. It's definitely my favorite track off of this album, hands down.
Christen?
I'm gonna say when I wrote in big, I'm like, Evanescence is back, because that's what it felt like. It felt like a lot of the album was more Amy Lee.
Right.
And now this is actually Evanescence and their sound and their style. And I like it, and it's also a little bit different than other stuff, but I think it's also just very fitting for the times that we're in right now, if that makes sense. It's just it's a song that's empowering and it's good, and I feel like people need it. And I mean, I love it lyrically. The only thing that I found interesting was that she's like, I'm gonna lift you up and I'm gonna show you how, and this and that. And then when we get into the video, it was, but that's like a whole, anyways, I really,
She didn't like the video because of a water tank.
no, I loved that. Are you kidding? I
It's
mean,
just it wasn't in the video.
I feel like it wasn't in there enough, but it
So
was
in the background, they're floating in this water tank that you can't tell it's a water tank.
because I
What
saw
do you
all
mean,
the
like-
behind the scene things on
Right.
Instagram and the
So
photo,
it
and I was like
looks
so
so
excited.
cool. And then the end result was a lot of green screen, not so really cool video.
You like don't see her in the water, and that's so cool and high budget and interesting. Well, and just
I
yeah,
watch it though.
it would have been more fun to watch them float around
Water
watering
costs a lot of
tanks.
money.
It'll be a tank and
It's not a
everything.
renewable resource.
Debatable.
The filming of it. There we go.
So,
not the water
what we learned
itself.
here is watch the behind the scenes of this music video, ignore the actual video, but still listen to the audio of the song because it's really cool.
It's a good song.
It
I
was
liked it.
it was beautiful.
The rhythm
It
was cool. It had drums. It came in right away, as opposed to like fucking sitting there and being sad and slow for 2
Yeah,
minutes.
it wasn't like
It's a good end to the album
It's
too,
a
because
good end to an album. It would have been
It
a better
also-
end to an album that was like 5 tracks shorter, not as many
hold on.
interludes.
It would have been okay. Either it almost feels like this could have been the start of a great album,
Yeah.
but it turned out to be like the end of this other album.
But I like it. I like the placing because it's like
It's-
this is like an
works
evolution.
perfectly as an end.
But it's an evolution of all this stuff and all her writing and all everything
So
that's
if you-
happened, and then
but
it
if you
ends
look
with
at the
like, look
track-
at all this bad stuff, but like don't give up and new stuff and new faces.
Like it's as close to a compilation album as it could have come without having been a compilation album. So
Look,
it's in a little bit of a weird
all I'm
place.
saying is I would have much rather at this point have heard an entire album of new music like this.
Yeah.
Because that's what this really left me a feeling with. Like,
I give it a 4.5. By
and
the
what
way.
did you give it?
as a whole album.
No, this
No,
song.
no,
or
the
this
song.
song. Sorry, yes, this song 5.
Okay, so
Straight up.
this album,
Straight up.
this album was definitely not what I was expecting. I don't think it's unpleasant. I think it's long, a little longer than it needs to be. Cut out like 3 of these tracks maybe, or the skits or something. I don't know. Just felt like the songs were too long in a lot of cases. But if you like the first 2, you're in for a treat because that's the album.
Yeah.
Until the last one where it gets way better, that last track. Just fucking plus the single. It's fucking great. But this album is a 3.73. It's by no means a classic to me, but it is an experience, and it's an interesting experience. Like, I'm not even disappointed to have heard this. I just, aside from a couple of songs, can't see myself putting any of it. It kind of makes me want to go listen to those 2 or 3 Evanescence songs I like from back in the day, their original versions, and then kind of move on a bit.
I really liked it, and I think it's really a point of what you look at it, and if you're looking for new music, if you're looking for new Evanescence and everything, then you're totally going to be disappointed because it's not that. But for her, it was more a personal project, right, to kind of redo everything and everything we've said before. So
Y'all.
I really liked it, and especially the original was great, and I wish we had more of that. So I'd give it a 4.5.
Other than the fact that this was all re-recorded versions of older tracks, I was expecting when it was announced that Evanescence is coming out with a new album, I thought it was going to be like a new album, you know what I mean?
But it was just a new album.
It was just an album, an album.
That was new.
But other than that, it was pretty
With
much what I
original
expected.
music redone.
I'm not surprised that she decided to go with a little more of an electronic industrial sound.
Like, who
'cause
isn't these days?
Exactly, it makes sense. You know, she
Even
obviously has
Bush?
her ear to the ground. I don't care about Bush.
Hey,
Never
their
cared
last
about
album
Bush.
was amazing.
I'm sure it was.
Very
I'm
good.
sure it wasn't.
But-
But
No, it actually.
I know. I
it's
saw
a
the
good
comment
album.
where the guy was like, "Yeah, she get a Grammy," and I was like, "Oh God, in a world where Bush gets a Grammy." But
But that album deserves it, coming from a guy who said on that review that we did at Bush that it was a Grammy nom waiting to happen.
can't. Anyway, this album gets a 3.8 from me. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It's a lot of Evanescence to sit through if you're not like a hardcore Evanescence fan.
And that probably makes a difference in my rating too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
of course.
again, so this is the point of view of someone who really, really likes that sound. You know what I mean? And for us, it's maybe
Take it with a
we
grain of
don't-
salt. That's what we're trying to
Yeah.
say.
Mm-hmm.
But
see you next week.
thank you for watching.
Thank
for
you.
Because how rude is he trying to be right now? Thank you so much. We care greatly about your
No, I'm saying
comments.
see you next week. I'm excited
Yeah,
about
but
that.
we gotta like thank them first. You know, let them
Alright,
know
well-
appreciation,
Again.
and then comment. Feel free to comment anything, disagree, whatever. Come at us, love us, hate us, whatever you want. Talk about her Phantom of the Opera shirt if you want. At the end of
That's
the
the only
day,
thing you can take away from this like
It's a
hour
good
plus
shirt.
long fucking video.
well, the last time we were here, we got a comment. She has a great shirt, so maybe that could be a thing.
You
com-
could-
You
Yeah,
could be like
it could be
Kristen's
the
shirt of
thing.
the week.
Exactly. And then when I
Um,
don't have one,
But
well,
yeah, so
What do you mean when you don't have one?
When
I
I
don't
don't
know.
have a
coming,
band
she's coming.
shirt.
I
She's
have
naked next
intentions
week.
of keeping
Naked
us
episode. We're all gonna be
monetization
naked.
friendly. Is all I'm trying to say.
Holden's gonna wear a man thong.
So hit the like.
It's gonna be
Maybe.
hot.
So hit the like button if you felt this. Talk to us, love us,
You're not
subscribe
even
if
here
you're.
next week, so you don't have to see it.
That's okay. So I guess anyway, hold and behave. Bye. We'll see you next week.
bye.
Hashtag